Welcome to the DJ Mark Flow podcast. Come on. DJ Mark Flow. Hey yo, what's up everybody? Welcome to the DJ Mark Flow podcast.
Hello, what's up y'all? How's everybody doing? Listen guys, it's nice to be back. I took a little bit of time to make some improvements. In the last video, I felt like the camera angle was a little too far away, so I adjusted the angle so we can have a real conversation. Also, the lighting was a little dim, so I invested in professional lighting. So keep in mind, when I go quiet, guys, I'm not quitting or giving up. I am building new ideas and making improvements, seeing how I can make things better, working on improving the set. As you can see, I'm making some changes to the set. Every day it'll get a little more improved. I'm sure after this video, there are going to be more changes I want to make. I want to keep the channel growing. So if you never doubted, let's go, fam. Let's go. Let's be positive. All right, fam. Let's get real tonight. You ever notice how food companies love throwing words around like natural, healthy, or fit on labels? They'll put a fit person on a bag of potato chips and call it wellness. But the truth? Most of the stuff in our grocery stores isn't feeding you. It's playing you. Real talk. Now, I'm not here to lecture. I'm here to protect. Because once you know the game, you can't be fooled. And trust me, the food industry is a game. A $1 billion one that isn't focused on your health. It's focused on your addiction. So tonight, I'm pulling the curtain back. We're talking about the snacks you love, the sodas you sip, the meats you buy for dinner. We're going deep into Doritos, Takis, Red 40, seed oils, fake bread, and why America lets companies sell us things that other countries straight up ban. This is about discipline, and it's not about letting some lab coat exec in a boardroom decide what goes in your body. You with me? Let's go. Doritos and Takis. Engineered addiction. Let's start with something you already know. Doritos. I'll be honest, they taste mad good. But they're not designed to satisfy you. They're designed to control you. See, Doritos aren't food. They're science in a bag. They're built around what a food scientist calls the bliss point. And I'm not talking about Alexa Bliss, who we all love. I'm talking about the perfect combo of fat, salt, and sugar that hijacks your brain the way a slot machine hijacks a gambler. That's why you can kill half a bag and still feel hungry. It's not willpower, it's chemical manipulation. Let's take a look at the ingredients. Look at the back of a bag of Doritos. MSG. That's a flavor enhancer that spikes your dopamine and makes food taste more intense. Translation, you keep eating. Artificial flavors, a legal loophole for companies to add dozens of lab-made chemicals and never fully disclose them. Natural flavors, I'm sure you guys have seen that. Here's the crazy part. When you see natural flavors on a label, it doesn't mean fruit juice or something wholesome from nature. It's a lab-created chemical mix that starts from something natural, like a plant or animal, but then gets processed, concentrated, and blended with solvents, preservatives, and additives. Food companies love it because they can legally hide dozens of ingredients under that one innocent-sounding label. Look, Mom, it says natural flavors. Bottom line, natural flavors are really just marketing for engineered flavored chemicals designed to hook your taste buds. Red 40, a synthetic dye made from petroleum. Europe either bans it or slaps warning labels on it because it's been linked to hyperactivity in kids, causes mood swings, even immune disruption. America, we just feed it to kids in breakfast cereals. Now let's talk about Takis. Takis, my grandson loves these. They're Doritos' spicier cousin. Same blueprint. MSG, artificial flavors, red 40. Only now they're fried in seed oils like soybean and canola. Those oils oxidize under high heat, and when you eat them, they fuel inflammation in your body, your joints, your skin, even your brain cells. And that burning in your stomach after eating some Takis, that's not just spicy fun. That's chemical warfare on your gut lining. So don't beat yourself up if you can't stop eating them. They're not designed to be enjoyed. They're designed to be addictive. Now, here's the sexy part. Swap them out. You want crunch, spice, satisfaction? Grab something like Siete chips, made with cassava flour, avocado oil, lime, and sea salt. That's real food. That's fuel, not poison. You eat them, you feel good. You wake up the next morning sharp, not bloated and anxious. Discipline isn't about eating boring food. It's about refusing to be played like a lab rat. And trust me, once you stop letting Doritos and Takis own you, you feel powerful again. And real talk, Siete chips are really good. Try them. Now let's talk about sugar, but not just any sugar. The slick, lab-made cousin that's hiding in everything. High fructose corn syrup. See, back in the 1970s, food companies figured out that corn was cheap in America. And thanks to subsidies, they could turn it into a sweetener that was way cheaper than sugar. So instead of cane sugar, they started pumping high fructose corn syrup into everything. Soda, ketchup, bread, salad dressing, even so-called healthy protein bars. Here's the problem. Your body doesn't process high fructose corn syrup the same way it processes natural sugars, like fruit or honey. When you eat fruit, your body gets fiber, vitamins, and your liver can handle the fructose in small doses. But high fructose corn syrup is a flood. All that fructose slams your liver, gets turned into fat, and over time it creates something called non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. It also spikes your insulin resistance, which is just a fancy way of saying your body stops handling sugar properly. That's the highway to diabetes: weight gain, brain fog, and constant cravings. And here's the part that gets me. High fructose corn syrup isn't just in the obvious junk. Companies sneak it into breads, yogurts, even so-called light foods. They know if you taste that hidden sweetness, your brain lights up and you come back for more. Now, do you know which country said we're not playing that game? I'll give you a second. Think about it. Mexico. That's right. Mexico. That's why Coca-Cola in Mexico still uses real cane sugar. And guess what? It tastes better. If you're ever in suffering, stop by J.R. Lucas Deli and Market and get yourself a Mexican Coke. Americans will pay extra just to import Mexican Coke. Proof that our own companies know high fructose corn syrup is trash, but they keep using it because it's cheap. Now, let's be real. It's not just sugar, it's control. You think you're buying food, but you're really buying a ticket to cravings, weight gain, and a lifetime prescription bill. So what do? What's the move? Swap it. Ditch soda. Grab a Zevia. It's a soda product that's sweetened with stevia. 0 calories, no high fructose corn syrup. Make your own sweet tea with honey. Actual honey, not the bear bottle full of corn syrup. Read the label. If it says corn syrup or high fructose corn syrup, that's not food. That's profit dressed as sugar. Bottom line, high fructose corn syrup is America's slow poison. The Europeans didn't let it in. We did. And now we're paying the price with our health. Just look at the obesity levels. Now let's talk about meat, chicken, steak. Everybody likes a good steak. But first, let's step into the deli aisle. Because cold cuts, hey, make me a sandwich, cold cuts. They might look innocent, but they're hiding some of the darkest secrets in the grocery store. I grew up on bologna sandwiches. Turkey slices, salami, bacon, sausage, you name it. But here's what I didn't know then. Processed meats are full of sodium and pumped full of chemicals called nitrites and nitrates. These chemicals keep the meat pink and make it last forever on the shelf. Sounds convenient, right? But when those preservatives hit your body, they can turn into something called nitrosamines, which are compounds that the World Health Organization straight up linked to cancer. To cancer! In fact, the WHO, the World Health Organization, classified processed meats in the same cancer risk category as smoking. So when you're sitting there judging that kid that's smoking a cigarette while you're eating bacon, you need to quiet yourself. And that's not even the worst part. You ever notice how some cold cuts taste kind of the same? That's because a lot of them are basically meat paste. You heard that right? Meat paste. Scraps, fillers, soy protein, and whatever's left at the press factory pressed into those slices. That's not protein, bro. That's Frankenstein food. Now let's zoom out. Fast food burgers. I'm going to do a more extensive episode on this. But it's the same deal. Most of those patties come from industrial beef packed with hormones and antibiotics. They even use something called pink slime for years. What is pink slime? It's ammonia-treated beef scraps mixed into the ground beef. Yeah, the same ammonia used in your cleaning products. You think that's fueling your gains? Negative. That's fueling your doctor visits. Now, let me flip this. Because meat itself isn't the enemy. Quality meat, it's loaded with complete protein, B vitamins, iron, zinc, and if it's the right kind, healthy fats that fight inflammation. That's why my go-to company is ButcherBox. And they are not a sponsor. I just truly love ButcherBox. Grass-fed beef, pasture-raised chicken, wild-caught salmon. Here's why that matters. Grass-fed beef has way more omega-3s than grain-fed. That means anti-inflammatory power, better brain function, and a healthier heart. And let's be real, brain function gets more and more important as you age. No hormones or antibiotics, so you're not accidentally dosing yourself with chemicals every time you have a burger. Nutrient density. Real meat from animals raised right is richer in something called CLA, a fatty acid linked to fat loss and muscle retention. Ethics. If you actually care about animals, pasture raised is humane. Those animals lived like animals, not factory machines. See, the food industry, they want you to believe cheap fast food is the same as a pasture-raised steak. But let me put it this way. Factory meat is like cheap gas in your car that clogs the engine. Grass-fed is like premium gas. Your car runs cleaner, smoother, and takes you further. Your body is the machine. Stop fueling it with garbage. Bottom line, cold cuts and fast food are convenient. They're convenient cancer traps. Real meat raised right is strength food. And when you feed your body right, you don't just look better, you feel better. Let's talk about spices. Gotta talk about seasoning. You can't have a steak without seasoning. You can't have chicken without seasoning. So let's raid the spice cabinet. Because even those little jars that are supposed to make your food better can be low-key wrecking your health. A lot of the pre-packaged spices you grab off the grocery store shelf, they aren't just spice. They're loaded with anti-caking agents like silicone dioxide and calcium silicate, the same stuff used in industrial manufacturing. Artificial colors, because apparently paprika isn't red enough on its own. MSG and hidden fillers, so you're paying for bulk, not flavor. Old, stale products. Spices can sit for years, losing flavor and sometimes growing mold and toxins. Cheap spices are often imported in bulk, irradiated and treated with chemicals before they even hit the jaw. That garlic powder that you're using for your chicken dinner might be 50% garlic and 50% mystery dust. And listen, I gotta do it. I gotta call out Goya. I gotta do it. Their spices and seasonings, have you ever flipped the label? You'll find MSG, artificial colors, and fillers that don't belong in something as simple as cumin or oregano. Even their popular sazon packs, the popular sazon packs, they're packed with red 40, yellow 5, and MSG. It's basically color powder with a little seasoning sprinkled in. How nice. Let's talk about beans. I'm a Puerto Rican man. So it was a norm for me to sit down at dinner and have a plate of rice and beans. But let's talk about those rice and beans and how they're made. A lot of people use the Goya canned beans. Goya makes them cheap and easy. But here's the truth. Many canned beans have added salt, calcium chloride, and preservatives. They're sitting in a metallic can for months, even years. And while the lining is BPA free now, it still isn't the same as fresh. Canned beans can be higher in sodium and lose some nutrients in the preservation process. So if you want real beans that are clean, nutrient rich, and taste incredible, make them from scratch. Buy dry beans, organic if possible, soak overnight to reduce anti-nutrients and make them easier to digest. Cook with fresh herbs, sea salt, and high quality spices. Good spices that you guys can get that I recommend, Butcher Box, they also make their own line of spices and it's all healthy ingredients. Another one is Simply Organic and also Primal Palette. But yeah, does it take time? Of course. Making beans from scratch, yeah, it takes more time. But you control every ingredient. You save money and you get flavor that canned beans can't touch. I recently learned how to do this myself. I didn't know how to do it for years. So I was eating canned beans and I was taught how to do it by someone that knows how to do it. And I've never gone back. As Latinos, we need to have the same expectation of our rice and beans that our Italian friends have over their pasta and sauce. Try giving an Italian ragu with their pasta. They will look at you like you're crazy. So as a proud Latino, I want my beans from scratch. Let's ditch that Goya can. Sorry, Goya, but it's not oh boya. Bottom line, If the label on your spices or beans looks like a science project, your dinner is about to turn into one. So don't wake up in the morning and ask, why don't I feel well? Make your beans from scratch, bro. Let's talk bread. Everybody loves bread. Come on, how do you not like bread? But let's talk bread, because this one's sneaky. Bread is supposed to be the most basic food. Flour, water, yeast, salt. That's it. But walk into any grocery store in America and what do you see? Shelves full of bread that are more like a chemistry experiment than actual food. Take your classic white bread. Wonder Bread. It's the perfect name. I wonder what's in this bread. Flip that label and you'll see a list of 20 plus ingredients. Preservatives, added sugar, dough conditioners, and listen to this. This word is a lot. Azodide carbonamide. Yeah, the same chemical is used in yoga mats. Think about that for a minute. I'll give you a second. Have you ever been hungry and said, I'm going to eat my yoga mat? Europe banned it years ago, but in America, still legal, still in your sandwich. So what's the problem with this fake bread? That's right, it's fake. I called you fake. First, the flour is stripped. They bleach it, take out the fiber, and then fortify it later with synthetic vitamins. That's like taking the engine out of your car and then taping on some parts after. Second, it's loaded with added sugar or corn syrup. So you're getting a glucose spike every time you bite into your sandwich. So you're like, oh, this is such a good sandwich. No, your glucose is spiking. Third, those preservatives and conditioners are linked to inflammation, allergies, and even higher cancer risks. But there is a better option. Dave's Killer Bread. And no, they also are not a sponsor, but this is just real talk. Why is it better? Whole grains. Dave's keeps the brand and the German. So you're getting fiber, vitamins, minerals, and steady energy. Organic ingredients. No weird chemicals you can't pronounce. Protein and omega-3s. Some of their loaves sneak in seeds and nuts that actually give your body fuel instead of empty calories. Low glycemic impact. It won't spike your blood sugar like Wonder Bread does. And here's the part I love. Europe and other countries never even allowed a lot of the junk we put in American bread. The US food industry just assumes you won't check the label and that you'll settle for soft, cheap, addictive bread that makes you hungrier instead of full. Think of it this way. Cheap white bread is like eating cotton candy disguised as food. Dave's Killer Bread, that's bread with muscle. It fills you up, fuels your brain, and actually supports your body instead of wrecking it. Bottom line, don't let the grocery store fool you. If your bread has a paragraph of ingredients, that's not bread. That's processed filler. Real bread is simple, strong, and clean. And once you taste that difference, you'll never go back to the science experiment. I have recommended Dave's Killer Bread to many people, and they have all agreed. The cereal scam. Cereal scam. Cereal trying to scam you, kid. All right. While we're on the subject of engineered food, we got to talk about cereal. Walk down the cereal aisle in an American grocery store. It looks more like a toy store than a place you buy food. Bright colors, cartoon characters, games on the box, sometimes even a toy inside. But here's the wild part. The marketing isn't just cute, it's psychological warfare. Studies have shown that cartoon characters on cereal boxes are drawn with their eyes tilted downward. Why do you think that is? So when a little kid is walking by, the character is literally looking them in the eye. That's not an accident. That's design. They know eye contact builds trust. So your kid feels like Tony the Tiger or Lucky the Leprechaun is their buddy saying, "Pick me, I'm great." Meanwhile, the cereal is 40% sugar and sprinkled with artificial dyes. And let's be real, these cereals aren't breakfast. They're dessert. Fruity Pebbles, Fruit Loops, Cap'n Crunch. Flip the box, it's corn, sugar, dyes, and preservatives. It's basically cake frosting in a bowl. Yet, we've been trained to think this is a normal way to start the day. And then you're wondering, why am I gaining weight? Here's the kicker. The next time your kids can't sit still in class or can't focus on their homework, don't just blame the teacher or the school system or tell your kid they're just not behaving. You might want to blame the cartoon character on the cereal box. Because when your kid's blood sugar spikes and crashes, their brain is on a roller coaster before 9 a.m. And it's not just behavior, guys, it's health. Those same dyes, like red 40 and yellow 5, are linked to hyperactivity and even long-term health risks. Europe bans certain dyes. Canada requires warning labels. But in America, we slap a smiling mascot on the box and call it part of a balanced breakfast. Here's my rule of thumb. If your breakfast mascot has a catchphrase, it's probably not food. Real breakfast doesn't need a cartoon tiger telling you it's good, because your body will tell you it's good. Now let's talk about oatmeal. Instant oatmeal. You know those packets? Half of these packets are just sugar with a little oat dust. If you want real fuel, go with steel cut oats or sprouted oats, something that doesn't need a rainbow mascot to prove it's food. And you'll taste the difference. I love an organic plate of oatmeal. It's delicious. Let's talk about eggs. We all have eggs for breakfast. We all grew up eating eggs for breakfast, right? It's a staple, man. Because even here, the food industry plays word games. You'll see all these labels: cage-free, free range, organic. Sounds great, right? Here's what they really mean. Cage-free. The chickens aren't in cages, but they're still packed into giant barns, wing to wing, never seeing sunlight. Better than cages, not by much. Free range. Sounds nice. Free range. Sounds nice, but legally, it just means they have access to the outdoors. But that could be a tiny door that they never actually use. Organic. This means the feed is organic. No pesticides, no antibiotics. That's a step up. But still doesn't guarantee the chicken lived a natural life. Pasture raised. This is the gold standard. Chickens that are truly outdoors, on grass, they're eating bugs and worms like they are supposed to. Happier chickens, happier eggs, with more omega-3s, vitamin D, and better taste. Brands like Vital Farms are leading here. Also not a sponsor, but if any of these companies want to give me a call, come on, I'm showing you love, show it back. Now, here's why all this matters for your health. Eggs from factory farms, the cheap cage-free ones or the standard ones, are very different nutritionally. Those hens are stressed, overcrowded, eating low-quality corn and soy feed, and pumped with antibiotics. The result, their eggs have more omega-6 fats. Those are the inflammatory kind, and far less omega-3s, the anti-inflammatory kind. That imbalance fuels inflammation in your body. Think joint pain, brain fog, higher risk of heart disease. They're also lower in vitamins like vitamin D and vitamin E. Pasture-raised eggs can have up to twice the vitamin D because the chickens actually see sunlight. And here's the sneaky part. Studies have shown factory farm eggs can even carry more harmful bacteria like salmonella because the conditions they live in are filthy. So yeah, all eggs are not created equal. The $2 carton might save you some money at checkout, but the $6 pasture-raised eggs, they'll save you money in doctor bills. Bottom line, when you crack that bright orange yolk from a pasture-raised egg, you're looking at nature's multivitamin. When you crack a pale yellow factory egg, you're looking at an industry shortcut that cheats your health. Now let's talk about sweeteners. The good, the bad, and the ugly. Here we go. All right, let's break down one of the biggest diet traps out there. Sweeteners. They are not so sweet. Everyone wants sweet without the calories, right? That's how we ended up with a whole aisle of sugar substitutes. But here's the truth. Not all sweeteners are created equal. Some of them are straight up dangerous. Some are neutral, and a couple are actually good for you. Let's line them up. Y'all ready? Let's do this. First up, we got aspartame. This one is in Diet Coke, those little equal packets, sugar-free gums, and tons of low-calorie products. It's been around since the 80s, and the FDA swears it's safe. But here's the dark side. Studies have linked aspartame to headaches, mood disorders, and even an increased risk of certain cancers when consumed regularly. And here's what makes me mad. This is what sets me off, people. No, here's what makes me mad. No, real talk. What makes me mad is it breaks down into methanol in your body. Methanol. That's wood alcohol. You know what wood alcohol is? Poison. Your liver has to process that. Over time, it stresses your body, and your body doesn't need extra stress. Aspartame is like a toxic X. It promises 0 calories, but in reality, it leaves you with damage and regret. Sucralose, otherwise known as Splenda. Not so splendid. Sucralose sounds better. Made from sugar. That's marketing genius. But what they don't say is it's chemically authored chlorine sugar. Your body doesn't recognize it as food. Studies show sucralose messes with your gut microbiome, those good bacteria that protect your digestion, immunity, even your mood. Kill those off, and you're setting yourself up for long-term issues. Plus, when sucralose is heated, like when you're baking it in a cake, it can create toxic compounds. Sucralose is like the fake friend who shows up smiling and then steals your wallet. Stevia. Now, let's talk some good news. Stevia comes from a natural plant leaf. No calories, no blood sugar spike, and it doesn't trash your gut. The only downside is some brands overprocess it and add fillers like maltodextrin. So read the label. Pure stevia extract is a solid choice. Some stevia products, however, say in the fine print, stevia plus added sugars. You don't want that. You want pure stevia. That's the dependable friend who's always there when you need them. Natural, no drama, no hidden agenda, but every now and then they bring friends with them that are not the best. But when it's just them, it's all good. Now let's talk about the winner, the champion. The champion of the sweeteners, the number one sweetener in the sweetener category. You ready? Monk fruit. This one's the sleeper hit. Comes from a fruit in Asia, naturally sweet, 0 calories, no blood sugar spike, no gut damage. This is the one I personally recommend if you want sweetness without the baggage. This is the wise, calm friend who's been around for centuries, never causes trouble, and actually leaves you feeling better after hanging out. Natural and drama-free. The kind of friend your mom wants you to hang out with. Here's the big takeaway. Aspartame, the toxic X named equal. Sucralose, the gut wrecker named Splenda. Stevia, the healthy friend if they arrive alone. Monk fruit, the gold medal winner. And just so you see the game, the dangerous ones, aspartame and sucralose, are the ones that get shoved into all the mainstream products. Why? Because they're cheap to make, addictive, and they keep you buying more. The natural ones are harder to mass produce, so you'll only see them in smaller brands. Bottom line, if you want sweet without the crash, go monk fruit or clean stevia. And if you really want to be disciplined, just use real sugar or raw honey, but only once in a while. Your body can process that. It's the fake stuff that'll ruin you. All right, let's hit another scam. It's another scammer. I'm going to bring it to the table. Going to hit another scam. The so-called healthy drinks. This one, they got me a little bit at first, and then I started reading the back, and I was like, wait a minute. You've seen the commercials. Athletes sweating in slow motion, cracking open a neon blue sports drink, pouring it down like it's liquid gold. But here's the truth. Most sports drinks are just sugar water with food coloring. Take a look at the labels. High fructose corn syrup or sugar as the first ingredient. Artificial dyes like yellow 5, red 40, and blue 1. And if it's sugar-free, boom, you're drinking aspartame or sucralose. Here's the problem. The sugar version spikes your blood sugar, crashes energy, and feeds diabetes. Artificial sweetener version fries your gut bacteria, confuses your metabolism, and makes you crave more food later. Diet soda is the same game. They slap 0 calories on the label like it's a blessing. But those sweeteners tell your brain that sugar's coming. Your body pumps out insulin. And then no sugar shows up. That mismatch actually makes your body hungrier and stores more fat long term. So if you're sipping on Diet Coke, thinking you're dodging calories, you're actually getting hustled. And I used to love Diet Coke. Now I'm a Zevia guy. Because it's soda sweetened with stevia. No artificial colors, no high fructose corn syrup. Zevia. Or if you want electrolytes without the sugar bomb, mix water with a little sea salt and lemon. Or go with a clean electrolyte mix that's dye-free. Hydration doesn't need to glow in the dark, bro. It's not Halloween, bro. It's not Halloween, bro. But even on Halloween, give me a Zevia. All right, America versus the world. The food double standard. All right, family, time to zoom out. Because everything we talked about so far, dyes, sweeteners, coconuts, breads, there's a bigger scandal hiding in plain sight. See, in America, the food industry has one goal: profit. And they've got the lobbyists, lawyers, and politicians to back them up. That means if an ingredient makes food cheaper to produce, lasts longer on the shelf, or look prettier under fluorescent lights, it gets the green light, even if it's toxic. But here's the crazy part. A lot of these ingredients are banned in other countries. So I figured it'd be interesting to go through some of them, so you know what to look out for when you're looking at the back of a product you're going to buy. Artificial dyes like red 40, yellow 5, and yellow 6. They are linked to hyperactivity in kids. Very bad for you. I don't buy anything with these ingredients. In Europe, these dyes come with warning labels or are flat out banned. In America, they're in your cereal, candy, and macaroni and cheese. Potassium bromate, used to make bread fluffy and white. It's considered a possible carcinogen. It's banned in the UK, Canada, and the European Union. It's still in America via the bread and baked goods. RBGH, recombinant bovine growth hormone, which is injected into cows to boost milk production. It's linked to cancer risk and early puberty. Banned in the European Union, Japan, Australia, and still used in American dairy. BHA and BHT preservatives. They're added to potato chips, crackers, cereals to extend shelf life. Classified as possible human carcinogens. And for those that don't know, carcinogen is something that can cause cancer. Banned in parts of Europe and still in your snack aisle in the United States. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. Here's what this means in America. We are literally eating ingredients that are too dangerous for other countries to even allow. The stuff you wouldn't feed to kids in France, Canada, or the UK, it's breakfast here. Why? Because these companies know two things. Americans are addicted to cheap convenience. The FDA is in bed with the food industry. That's the game. They profit while we get sicker. Cancer rates, obesity, diabetes, autoimmune disease, all climbing in America. And instead of changing the food, they sell us pills to manage the damage. It's a system. Make the food addictive and toxic, make the healthcare expensive, keep people hooked on both. Here's the reality check. You can't wait for the FDA to protect you. You got to protect yourself. Read the labels. I'm giving you the information. Question everything. And whenever you see an ingredient that's banned overseas, but sitting in your pantry, ask yourself, why are Americans treated like lab rats while other countries are getting protection? All right, let's wrap this up, fam. We talked about Doritos, Takis, cereals, Wonder Bread, fake colors, fake flavors, fake health. Breakfast traps, bacon, sausage, sugary oats, eggs that cheat you and the animals. Sweeteners, aspartame and sucralose, pretending to be your friend, but really stabbing your gut in the back. Cold cuts and processed meats, as cancer-linked as cigarettes. High fructose corn syrup, and everything feeding diabetes and addiction. Sports drinks and diet sodas, hustling you with neon chemicals and zero-calorie lies. And the big one, America lets this junk in while other countries straight up ban it. That's not an accident. That's a business plan. But here's the good news. You're not powerless. Every dollar you spend is a vote. Every time you choose Vital Farm eggs over factory eggs, or Butcher Box over hormone pumped beef, or Zevia over Diet Coke, you're flipping the script. You're telling the industry, I won't be your lab rat. I'm protecting myself, my kids, my family, my future. And let me say this, the food industry is banking on you being too tired, too distracted, or too broke to care. But the fact that you're even listening right now, that means you care. That means you already won half the battle. So here's my challenge this week. Swap just one thing. Trade your cereal for real oats. Trade your soda for water with lemon. Trade your cold cuts for roasted chicken you made yourself. Small moves add up. That's how you fight back. Because this isn't just about six-pack abs or losing weight. This is about living long enough to dance at your grandkid's wedding, about waking up with real energy, and about having a clear mind and a strong body. That's sexy. That's powerful. That's godly stewardship of the temple God gave you. And if you take nothing else from this episode, remember this. When you see a color with a number on an ingredient, put that science project back on the shelf. Food should be food, not a lab experiment. That's real talk. I tell you these things because I care about people and I want people to live healthy lives. So listen, it's DJ Mark Flow, protecting your health, your heart, and your soul, one bite at a time. And as always, I'll see you next time, fam.
Thank you for supporting the DJ Mark Flow podcast. See you next time.